The deep silence of space was broken by the soft beeping of sensors aboard the Alliance survey ship Starseeker. Captain James Reed looked up from his data pad, his eyes focusing on the main view screen. It was supposed to be a normal day of border patrol in the Outer Rim, but something felt different. "Captain, I'm picking up an unusual reading," said Tom Parker, the sensor operator. His fingers moved quickly across the control panel as he tried to make sense of the data. "It's big, really big." Reed walked over to the sensor station, his boots making soft sounds against the metal floor. The Starseeker was a small ship, just perfect for patrol duties, but what they were seeing on the sensors made their vessel feel tiny. "Can you clear up that image?" Reed asked, pointing at the blurry shape on the screen. The shape was massive, far larger than any normal ship should be. "Working on it, sir," Tom replied, adjusting the sensors. "Whatever it is, it's about twice the size of a standard Alliance battleship." The bridge crew fell silent as the image slowly became clearer. What they saw made them all stare in disbelief. It was definitely a warship, but unlike anything they had ever seen before. Its dark hull seemed to both reflect and absorb light in impossible ways. The design was elegant yet threatening, with smooth lines that shouldn't have been possible in spacecraft construction. "Sir," called out Linda Morris from the science station, "the energy readings from that ship, they don't make any sense. According to these measurements, it's somehow using less energy than a cargo shuttle while maintaining systems that should require the power of a small sun." Reed scratched his head, trying to understand what they were seeing. In his 20 years of space service, he had never encountered anything like this. "Any identification markings?" he asked. The next discovery hit them even harder. "Sir, you're not going to believe this," Tom said, his voice shaking slightly. "The markings are in English. It's a human ship." This revelation sent a wave of confusion through the bridge. Humans were considered a minor race in the Alliance, barely 50 years into their membership. They weren't supposed to have technology like this. The most advanced human ships were basic cruisers, nothing more than modified Alliance designs. "Open a communication channel," Reed ordered. He straightened his uniform, aware that this moment could be historically significant. "Unknown vessel, this is Captain James Reed of the Alliance survey ship Starseeker. Please identify yourself." They waited, but no response came. The massive ship just floated there, silent and mysterious. "Try all frequencies," Reed commanded. "Add first contact protocols to the message." Linda's console suddenly lit up with warnings. "Captain, the ship's hull, its reading is both solid and non-existent at the same time. That's not possible. And these energy patterns, they're like nothing in our database." Reed made a decision. "Send a priority message to Alliance Command. Mark it urgent. Include all sensor data." He turned to his navigation officer, John. "Keep us at a safe distance, but maintain visual contact." As John adjusted their position, Reed studied the mysterious vessel more carefully. Its design was both beautiful and terrifying. The hull was smooth, without the usual external equipment that all ships needed. No visible weapon ports, no sensor arrays, not even standard navigation lights. Yet somehow it was clearly a warship. Its very shape spoke of power and purpose. "Message sent, sir," Tom reported. "But there's something else. The space around the ship, it's different. Like it's bending reality itself." Reed nodded slowly. "Record everything. Every detail matters." He had a feeling that this discovery would change everything they thought they knew about space travel and ship design. Hours passed as they watched and waited. The bridge crew took turns taking breaks, but Reed stayed at his post. He couldn't take his eyes off the impossible ship. Every now and then, the vessel seemed to flicker, as if it was trying to exist in multiple places at once. Finally, after what seemed like forever, their communication system came to life. "Starseeker, this is Alliance Command. Hold your position. A research team is being dispatched to your location. Do not approach the unknown vessel. Repeat, "Do not approach." The response was faster than Reed expected. Usually, Alliance Command took days to react to anything. This immediate response told him that they understood the significance of what his crew had found. "Look at that," Linda suddenly called out. She pointed to her screen, showing new sensor data. "The metal of the hull. It's not just unknown, it's changing its molecular structure every few seconds. But the changes follow a pattern, like it's breathing." Reed walked over to look at her readings. The numbers and patterns made his head hurt. According to everything they knew about physics and engineering, this ship couldn't exist. But it did, and it was floating right in front of them. "Sir," John called from his station, "I've been calculating the ship's size. Based on our scans, it's about 3 kilometers long. But here's the strange part. Its mass readings keep changing. Sometimes it reads as heavy as a small moon. Other times, it's almost weightless." The mysteries kept piling up. Reed ordered his crew to start a detailed log of everything they observed. He had a feeling that every piece of information would be important for understanding this impossible vessel. As they waited for the research team to arrive, Reed couldn't help but feel proud. Somewhere, somehow, humans had built this ship. Even if it came from some unknown human civilization, it proved that humanity's potential was far greater than anyone in the Alliance had imagined. The next few hours were filled with careful observation and data collection. They noticed that the ship seemed to have its own effect on local space. Small objects like dust and debris moved around it in patterns that defied normal gravitational laws. Sometimes, the stars behind it appeared to shift position slightly, as if the ship was bending light itself. When the research vessel finally arrived, Reed had filled several data pads with observations and questions. As he prepared to transfer command of the situation to the research team, he took one last look at the mysterious warship. Its dark hull still played tricks with the light, and its impossible design still challenged everything he knew about physics. Reed knew that this discovery would change the galaxy's view of humanity forever. This ship, whatever it was, wherever it came from, was proof that humans could achieve things that the most advanced races thought impossible. As he prepared his final report, he couldn't help but smile. The galaxy was about to learn that they had seriously underestimated humanity's capabilities. The research ship, Knowledge Seeker, arrived with Dr. Marcus Walker aboard. He was the best human scientist in the Alliance, known for his work in theoretical spacecraft design. As he stepped onto the Star Seeker's bridge, his eyes went straight to the main screen showing the mysterious warship. "Incredible," he whispered, pulling out his datapad. "Simply incredible." His fingers moved quickly across the screen as he started taking notes. "Captain Reed, I need to see all your sensor data immediately." Reed nodded to Linda, who transferred all their readings to Walker's pad. The scientist's eyes grew wider as he looked through the information. "This shouldn't be possible," he said, but his voice was filled with excitement rather than doubt. "We need to get closer," Walker announced. "My team brought special scanning equipment. We might be able to learn more about its construction." Captain Reed looked uncertain. "Is that safe? The space around that ship seems strange." "Nothing about this ship is safe," Walker replied with a small smile. "But that's exactly why we need to study it. This vessel breaks nearly every rule of physics we know. Understanding it could change everything." With careful movements, the Star Seeker moved closer to the mysterious warship. Walker's team set up their equipment, filling the bridge with new screens and sensors. The closer they got, the stranger things became. "Look at this," Walker called out, pointing to one of his screens. "The hull metal. It's not just unknown, it's impossible. The atomic structure keeps shifting, but it maintains perfect stability. It's like it's made of solid quantum particles." One of Walker's assistants spoke up. "Doctor, we're picking up some kind of field around the ship. It's like it's partially phased into another reality." Walker rushed to check the readings himself. "Of course," he exclaimed. "That's how it manages to exist. The ship isn't fully in our reality. It's somehow existing in multiple states at once, like a quantum particle that hasn't been observed. The scientists worked for hours, taking readings and making theories. Captain Reed and his crew helped where they could, but most of the scientific talk went over their heads. Still, they could tell that whatever they had found was revolutionary. "Sir," Tom called out suddenly. "Something's happening. The ship, it's becoming more solid, more real." Everyone turned to watch as the mysterious warship seemed to shift. Its outline became clearer, more defined. The strange effects around it grew stronger. "Quick, scan everything," Walker ordered his team. "This might be our chance to learn more about its true nature." As the ship became more solid, new details became visible. The hull had markings that hadn't been clear before. Walker read them out loud. "HMS Paradox. That's its name. But HMS, that's an old Earth Navy designation. How is that possible?" The mystery deepened when they discovered a small opening appearing in the ship's hull. It looked like an airlock, but its design was unlike anything they had seen before. "We need to go in," Walker said firmly. "This might be our only chance to learn the truth about this ship." Captain Reed shook his head. "Alliance Command ordered us not to board it." "Sometimes," Walker replied, "science requires taking risks. This ship, it's not just a mystery, Captain. It's proof that humans can achieve things that the Alliance thinks are impossible. We need to know how." After much discussion, they agreed to send a small team. Walker would lead it, along with 2 of his scientists and 2 of Reed's security officers. They prepared carefully, checking their space suits 3 times before approaching the mysterious ship. As they got closer to the paradox in their small shuttle, the strange effects became stronger. Their instruments started showing impossible readings. Time itself seemed to move differently near the ship's hull. "The airlock," one of the security officers said. "It's like it's inviting us in." "The design, it's meant for human use." Walker nodded as they carefully docked with the strange ship. "This ship was made by humans, even if we don't understand how or when. Everything about it feels familiar, just advanced beyond anything we can imagine." The airlock opened smoothly, as if it had been waiting for them. Inside, they found corridors that seemed to bend in impossible ways. The walls had a subtle glow that provided perfect lighting without any visible sources. "The air is breathable," Walker announced, checking his instruments. "The life support systems are still working, but these readings suggest they're not using any power. That's impossible." They moved deeper into the ship, finding more impossible things with each step. Rooms that were bigger on the inside than they should be. Control panels that responded to thought rather than touch. Technology that made the most advanced Alliance equipment look primitive. In what seemed to be the ship's main computer room, Walker found something that made him gasp. These data crystals, they're storing more information than should be possible in this universe. As they carefully connected their equipment to the ship's systems, information began flowing. The security officers kept watch while the scientists worked, trying to understand the flood of data. "This is incredible," Walker said, his voice full of awe. "According to these logs, this ship, it's from another timeline. A reality where humanity became the dominant force in the galaxy. They developed technology that our scientists think is impossible." The team spent hours downloading and studying the information. They learned that the paradox was more than just a warship. It was a testament to human potential. In its reality, humanity had unlocked secrets of the universe that the Alliance races hadn't even dreamed of. But as they worked, something strange began to happen. The ship started to become less solid again, as if it was trying to shift back to its previous state. "We need to leave," Walker said reluctantly. "The ship is shifting between realities again. If we stay, we might get trapped here." They quickly gathered their equipment and data, making their way back to the airlock. As they returned to their shuttle, they could see the paradox starting to fade, becoming ghost-like again. Back on the Starseeker, Walker and his team began studying the information they had gathered. "This is just the beginning," he told Captain Reed. "What we found today, It's going to change everything. This ship is proof that humanity's potential is far greater than anyone imagined. Reed looked at the mysterious warship on his screen, watching as it continued to flicker between states of reality. He couldn't help but feel proud. Somewhere out there, in another timeline, humans had built something that defied the very laws of physics. Maybe, with what they had learned today, they could start working toward that same potential in their own reality. The next few days aboard the Star Seeker were filled with constant work as Dr. Walker and his team studied the data they had gathered from the HMS Paradox. Every new piece of information they decoded left them more amazed than the last. Walker sat in the ship's meeting room, surrounded by holographic displays showing the information they had recovered. Captain Reed and his senior crew watched as the scientist explained their latest findings. "The truth is more incredible than we imagined," Walker said, pulling up a complex diagram. "The paradox isn't just from another timeline. It's from a reality where humanity took a completely different path. In that world, we didn't join the Alliance. Instead, we developed our own technology, our own path to the stars." He touched another control, and a new image appeared. It showed Earth, but not like they knew it. This Earth was surrounded by massive space stations and shipyards that made their most advanced facilities look like children's toys. In that reality, humanity faced a terrible threat. Walker continued. Something was destroying entire galaxies, eating stars, ending whole civilizations. The other humanity built the paradox as part of their last hope to stop it. Linda raised her hand. "But how did it end up here, in our reality?" Walker's face grew serious. "That's the most amazing part. They didn't just build a warship, they built something that could travel between realities. The paradox was designed to find other versions of humanity and help them." He brought up more data, showing complex equations that seemed to bend and twist on the screen. The ship's main computer contains detailed records of how they developed their technology. Everything from basic engine designs to weapons that could damage space itself. But it's not just technical data, it's also warnings. "Warnings about what?" Reed asked, leaning forward in his chair. "About the responsibility that comes with such power," Walker replied. The other humanity learned hard lessons about advanced technology. They made mistakes, faced consequences. They wanted to make sure that if other versions of humanity found this ship, they would learn from those mistakes. Tom spoke up from his position near the door. "But why make it so strange? Why does it keep shifting between realities?" "Because it had to," Walker explained. "The ship exists in multiple realities at once. It's how it survived the journey between timelines. But that same feature is now causing problems. The paradox is trying to stabilize itself in our reality, but the process is causing strain on the fabric of space itself." Reed's face showed concern. "Is it dangerous?" "Yes and no," Walker said. "The ship's systems are designed to prevent catastrophic failure, but its presence here is causing changes in local spacetime. Small changes now, but they're growing." The scientist pulled up another display, this one showing the space around the paradox. Strange patterns of energy moved through the void, like ripples in a pond. "We need to make a decision," Walker continued. "The ship's data cores contain technology that could advance humanity by centuries. Designs for engines that don't need fuel, weapons that could destroy stars, shields that could protect entire planets. But using this knowledge, it would change everything. The balance of power in the Alliance, the very nature of space travel itself." The room fell silent as everyone considered the implications. Their humanity had always been seen as a minor race, barely worth noticing in galactic politics. With the technology from the paradox, they could become one of the most powerful species in known space. "There's more," Walker added, his voice getting quieter. "The ship's records show why they sent it across realities. The threat they faced, the one that was destroying galaxies, it exists in all realities. It's just that in some timelines, it hasn't arrived yet." That revelation hit everyone hard. The idea that some cosmic horror was out there, slowly making its way toward their galaxy, made the decision about the paradox even more important. The other humanity didn't just send us technology, Walker explained. They sent us a warning and a chance to prepare. They had to face this threat alone, but they wanted to make sure other versions of humanity wouldn't have to. Reed stood up and walked to the window, looking out at the mysterious warship. So what do we do? If we report everything we found, the Alliance will want to take control of the ship and its technology. Maybe that's not our decision to make, Linda suggested. The ship was sent to help humanity, not the Alliance. Walker nodded slowly. The ship's systems are coded to human DNA. Its most advanced technology can only be accessed by human minds. The other humanity made sure their gift would reach the right hands. As they discussed what to do, alarms suddenly started blaring throughout the Starseeker. Tom rushed to check the sensors. "The paradox," he shouted. "It's becoming more solid again. But this time, something's different. The energy patterns are changing." They all rushed to the bridge, watching as the mysterious warship seemed to pulse with internal light. Streams of energy flowed across its hull, and for the first time, they could see it clearly without any of the strange shifting effects. "It's stabilizing," Walker said, checking his instruments. "The ship is choosing to fully enter our reality, but that shouldn't be possible. The strain on space-time should be too great." Reed ordered everyone to battle stations, not sure what was about to happen. But as they watched, the paradox's hull began to glow with a soft blue light. Patterns of energy spread out from the ship, touching the fabric of space itself. "It's not just stabilizing," Walker said in awe. "It's repairing the damage its presence caused. The ship isn't just advanced technology. It's a key to understanding how reality itself works." As the light show continued, data began streaming into their computers. The paradox was sending them more information, but this time it was different. These weren't just technical specs or historical records. This was a message, a direct communication from the other humanity to their counterparts in this reality. "They're not just giving us their technology," Walker said as he read the incoming data. "They're giving us their legacy, everything they learned, everything they achieved, all their hopes for humanity's future. They want us to succeed where they failed, to be ready for what's coming." The bridge crew watched in silence as the paradox completed its transformation, finally becoming a permanent part of their reality. The impossible warship had chosen to stay, bringing with it knowledge that would change humanity's path forever. News of the paradox spread through the Alliance like wildfire. Within days, ships from every major race began arriving in the sector. They kept their distance, held back by Alliance peacekeeping vessels, but their presence made everyone aboard the Star Seeker nervous. "They're afraid," Walker said, watching the growing fleet of observation ships on the main screen. For the first time, they're seeing humanity as a potential threat to their power. Captain Reed nodded, counting the vessels. 15 capital ships now, and more arriving every hour. The Alliance Council is demanding we hand over all our data about the paradox. The situation had grown tense. The Star Seeker had received dozens of messages from various Alliance races, some offering huge rewards for exclusive access to the mysterious ship, others making thinly veiled threats. "Sir," Tom called out from his station, "3 more ships just dropped out of faster-than-light travel. They're Earth ships." Everyone turned to watch as 3 human vessels approached. They were the newest ships Earth had, but they looked primitive compared to the paradox. Still, their arrival changed everything. Now humanity had a real presence here. The lead Earth ship was the EDS Defender, commanded by Admiral William Stone. His face appeared on their screen, looking both excited and concerned. "Captain Reed, Dr. Walker," he said, "Earth Command has received your reports. We're here to help protect our interests in this discovery." Before they could respond, alarms started blaring throughout the Star Seeker. Linda's voice was urgent as she reported, "The space around the paradox is becoming unstable again. The energy readings are off the charts. Walker rushed to his instruments. No, this is different. The ship isn't becoming unstable. It's reacting to something. Something's coming. The space around the paradox began to twist and bend. Stars seemed to move in impossible ways, and sensors showed massive energy spikes. Then, without warning, a hole opened in space itself. It's a dimensional rift, Walker shouted over the noise of scanning equipment going crazy. Similar to what the paradox uses, but much bigger. Through the rift came something that made everyone's blood run cold. It was like a living shadow, bigger than any ship they had ever seen. Where it passed, space itself seemed to darken. "That's it," Walker whispered, his face pale. "That's the threat the other humanity warned us about. It followed the paradox's energy signature here." The alien thing moved with impossible speed, heading straight for the gathered fleet. Alliance ships began firing their weapons, but their most powerful shots passed right through the creature without effect. Then the paradox moved. For the first time since they found it, the mysterious warship came fully to life. Its hull blazed with blue-white energy, and weapons unlike anything they had ever seen emerged from hidden ports. "The ship's automated defense systems are activating," Walker said, reading the flood of data on his screens. "It's doing what it was built to do, protecting humanity." The paradox fired, and reality itself seemed to bend around its weapons. Beams of pure white light struck the shadow creature, and for the first time, they heard it scream. The sound shook their ships and made their sensors explode with static. "All ships, fall back," Admiral Stone ordered over the general channel. "Let the paradox handle this. Our weapons are useless against that thing." They watched in awe as the impossible warship engaged the creature in battle. The paradox moved with impossible grace, its weapons tearing holes in the shadow being substance. But the creature was powerful too, its attacks making space itself ripple and tear. "The paradox is downloading something to our computers," Linda reported. It's weapons data and shield designs." Walker rushed to examine the information. "The ship is showing us how to fight these things. Quick, transmit this data to the Earth ships." As they watched, the 3 Earth vessels began to glow with the same blue-white energy as the paradox. Their systems were adapting, changing, becoming more like the impossible warship. "Engineering reports our weapons are changing," Reed said, watching his own displays. "The paradox is upgrading us, preparing us to fight." The shadow creature seemed to realize what was happening. It turned its attention to the Earth ships, moving to attack them before they could complete their transformation. But the paradox intercepted it, its weapons blazing. The battle was like nothing they had ever seen. The paradox and the creature fought across dimensions, their conflict visible only in the way space bent and twisted around them. Normal weapons would have been useless, but the paradox's technology operated on a completely different level. Finally, with a sound that shook the universe, the paradox landed a killing blow. Its main weapon fired a beam of energy that seemed to unravel the very fabric of the creature's being. The shadow thing broke apart, its substance dissolving into nothing. But the victory came at a cost. The paradox's hull showed damage, its perfect surface scarred by the creature's attacks. More worrying were the readings from its power core. "The ship's quantum matrix is destabilizing," Walker reported, his voice urgent. "The battle damaged its reality-shifting systems. If we don't do something, it could tear apart space for light years around." Reed looked at his crew, then at the gathered fleet of Alliance and Earth ships. The paradox had just saved them all, and now it needed their help. "Dr. Walker," he said firmly, "what do we need to do?" Walker worked quickly at his console. "The ship's trying to teach us, even now. Look at these schematics. If we can channel enough power through the Earth ship's new systems, we might be able to help stabilize the paradox." Admiral Stone's voice came over the comm. "Whatever you need, Doctor. That ship just saved humanity. Maybe saved the whole galaxy. We're not going to let it die now." The 3 Earth ships moved into position around the paradox, their newly upgraded systems glowing brightly. The Starseeker joined them, forming a perfect square around the damaged warship. Channel all power to the new quantum stabilizers, Walker instructed. The paradox will guide us. Just follow its lead. Energy began flowing between the ships, creating a web of light that held the paradox in place. The impossible warship's systems merged with theirs, showing them how to manipulate the fabric of space itself. It's working, Walker said excitedly. The paradox is stabilizing. But more than that, it's teaching us how to use its technology. This isn't just a rescue mission. It's humanity's first step toward becoming what we were meant to be. 3 days after the battle, representatives from every major alliance race gathered on a neutral space station to discuss what had happened. Humanity, once considered a minor power, now sat at the center of attention. The paradox floated nearby, repaired but changed, its impossible hull now bearing the scars of its victory. Dr. Walker stood before the gathered ambassadors, with Captain Reed and Admiral Stone by his side. The room was tense, filled with fear and confusion. Many races wanted the paradox destroyed, claiming it was too dangerous. Others wanted to claim it for themselves, hoping to unlock its secrets. The paradox is not just a warship, Walker began, his voice steady despite the pressure. It's a message from another version of humanity, a gift and a warning. He activated a holographic display showing the shadow creature they had fought. This entity is just one of many. In the reality the paradox came from, these beings destroyed countless civilizations. They feed on stars, on planets, on life itself. And they exist in all realities, including ours. Murmurs filled the room as the implications sank in. Walker continued, the other humanity fought them alone. They developed technologies beyond anything we can imagine, but it came too late. Their civilization fell, but not before they created the paradox, a ship designed to cross between realities and help other versions of humanity prepare. An ambassador from the Tellarites, one of the oldest alliance races, stood up. Why humanity? Why not send this ship to more advanced races? Admiral Stone answered this question. Because in that reality, humanity proved to be uniquely adaptable. We approached problems differently, saw solutions where others saw only obstacles. The other humanity believed that was true of all versions of humanity across all realities. Walker nodded, bringing up new images showing the technical data they had recovered. The paradox wasn't sent to give us weapons. It was sent to show us a different path, a different way of thinking about physics, about reality itself. The room grew quiet as Walker explained what they had learned. The paradox's technology wasn't just advanced, it was built on entirely different principles. It didn't fight against the laws of physics. It worked with them in ways no one had considered possible. We're not asking for permission to use this technology, Admiral Stone said firmly. The paradox has already decided that humanity is ready. Its systems are responding to human operators, teaching us, guiding us. This statement caused an uproar. The Alliance had always maintained strict controls over technological development, claiming it was for everyone's safety. The idea that humanity might suddenly leap centuries ahead terrified many of the older races. Enough. The voice came from the Arcturian ambassador, one of the most respected members of the Alliance. We all saw what happened. That thing would have destroyed us all if not for the paradox. If similar threats exist, we need to be ready. The debate continued for hours, with arguments going back and forth. Finally, a compromise was reached. Humanity would be allowed to study the paradox, but under Alliance observation. Any technologies developed would be shared, though humanity would maintain primary control of the ship itself. As the meeting ended, Reed found Walker staring out a viewport at the scared warship. Not the outcome you hoped for, Reed asked. Walker smiled slightly. Actually, it's exactly what I expected. The other humanity knew this would happen. The paradox's database predicted it all. The fear, the political maneuvering, everything. And they sent the ship anyway. Reed seemed confused. Yes, because they also predicted what comes next. Walker's smile grew wider. The paradox isn't just teaching us about technology, Captain. It's teaching us about responsibility, about cooperation. The ship is designed to work best when all races contribute their knowledge. Reed looked back at the impossible warship. In the days since the battle, its appearance had changed subtly. The damage was repaired, but its surface now showed patterns that reflected the contributions of Alliance races who had helped stabilize it. The ship is adapting, Walker explained, following Reed's gaze. It's incorporating the best ideas from everyone who studies it. That's what the other humanity wanted, not for us to dominate the galaxy, but to lead it towards something better. Back on Earth, the impact of the paradox's discovery was already being felt. Universities worldwide were studying the data, finding new insights in every line of code, every strange equation. The ship's quantum computing principles alone had sparked a revolution in information technology. 6 months after the discovery, the first Earth ship built using paradox principles was ready for testing. It was smaller than traditional vessels, but incorporated technologies that seemed like magic to most observers. Its engines didn't burn fuel. They manipulated space itself. Its hull wasn't made of metal, but of materials that could think and adapt. Walker stood on the bridge of this new ship, the EDS Unity, as it prepared for its first flight. Captain Reed had been given command, with Linda serving as his science officer and Tom as his navigator. The rest of the crew was equally balanced between humans and representatives from other Alliance races. All systems ready, Captain, Linda reported, her fingers moving across controls unlike any seen before in the Alliance. The paradox is standing by to escort us. Reed nodded, looking out at the impossible warship that now served as humanity's teacher and protector. Take us out, Mr. Parker. Easy speed until we clear Earth orbit. The Unity moved smoothly, its systems working in perfect harmony. Unlike traditional ships, there was no vibration, no sense of movement. Space simply shifted around them, carrying the vessel forward with elegant precision. As they cleared orbit, the paradox moved alongside them, its scared hull gleaming in the sunlight. For just a moment, Walker thought he saw something, like ghostly figures standing on the impossible warship's bridge, watching them with approval. "We're ready for the jump to faster than light," Tom announced. "The paradox has transmitted the coordinates." Reed turned to Walker. "Doctor, would you like to give the order? None of this would have been possible without you." Walker shook his head. "No, Captain, this isn't about individuals anymore." The other humanity understood that. Their greatest achievement wasn't building an impossible ship. It was learning to work together in ways we're only beginning to understand. Reed nodded, appreciating the sentiment. "Unity, prepare for dimensional jump. Let's see what lessons the universe has to teach us." As the ship's new engines powered up, creating a corridor through space-time itself, Walker looked back at Earth growing smaller behind them. The paradox had changed everything. Not by making humanity powerful, but by showing them their potential. It had given them a glimpse of what they could become if they chose the right path. The Unity slipped into faster-than-light travel, following the paradox into the unknown. This wasn't an ending, Walker realized, but a beginning. The impossible warship hadn't just saved them from one threat. It had prepared them for a future filled with both dangers and wonders beyond imagination. And as they traveled through the stars, the story of the ship that shouldn't exist, but did spread throughout the galaxy, becoming a symbol of hope and possibility for all who heard it. The paradox had done what its creators intended. It had changed everything, not through force, but through inspiration.